my heart. It's been a while, we're back in style. It's so good to be home.
The Rat Pack has survived all these years for a myriad of reasons. First of all, they were just, they were timeless in their talent. Frank Sinatra, one of the greatest entertainers of all time. At the time of the Rat Pack, he was the #1 movie star. He was the #1 box office attraction. He was the #1 live gate attraction, and he was the #1 recording artist. Pair that with Dean Martin coming off of being the hottest comedy team ever with Jerry Lewis, and Sammy Davis, maybe the greatest entertainer of all time. Put into the mix Joey Bishop, and you got something you have Kismet.
Just what kind of dame you could be.
You have the perfect storm of entertainment and talent, and that's why it's still here, because it's brilliantly great.
Luck be a lady with me.
I think this show works for a very key reason, is that the producers have created an environment that allowed this show to be fresh on a 24/7 basis. It is the harmony in this team, in this cast, just, it emanates from the stage. Everybody's smiling, everybody's happy.
It's the people walking into the theater. She want to know what is underneath kimono.
I'm afraid to ask, but what is underneath kimono?
And everybody's free to explore and play and have a good time on stage. And I see it time after time, night after night. The audience just loves it. Sammy is the original triple threat. He, you know, he's bonded. He's like, you know, like a really fine wine. There's nobody that was ever better than him. There probably will never be anybody better than him. And he was a gift, I personally believe, a gift from God.
That's Mr. Bojangles. Come back and dance. Will I say that I'm right? What I know that I'm wrong? Can I still give a damn for each hungry man, or just go along with the rest of the world? Afraid to be real, ashamed to be loved, but need to feel that kid with a dream.
We have a guy in the show by the name of Desmond Meeks who just, well, he's really close. He's really close. He's a tender soul, just like Sammy, and he can sing, he can dance, and he really delivers. Joey Bishop was the genius behind the humor of this bunch of people. And these four guys were giants in their time. They roamed the earth. But when you watch them performing on stage and you watch the shtick and the funny jokes and the repartee, a lot of that came from Joey. And Sandy's portrayal of Joey is dead on, and probably is better Joey than Joey was.
I was sitting at home one day and the phone rang and Joey Bishop called, who was Uncle Joey to me. He says, "Hey, Neff," that's how he talks. And I said, "Uncle Joey," I said, "to what do I have the pleasure?" He says, "HBO is doing a movie about the Rat Pack." He says, "I think you would be perfect to play me." And I said, "Wow, Uncle Joey, I would be honored. Who do I call? What do I do?" He says, "I don't know, nobody called me." True story.
A few weeks ago, I was in Los Angeles working for the nice folks at Disney. I was on the lot driving my car when I was involved in a vehicular incident. I got out of my car. The driver of the other vehicle got out of his car, was a midget. He looked at his car, impaled into mine. He looked at me, he said, "I'm not happy." I looked at him, I said, "Which one are you?" I was at Disney. It was a midget. Got out. I don't have to explain these to you.
The difference between our show and any other show about this show is put together by an incredibly talented team of people, which starts with my wife, whose father, Ron Miller, was a brilliant songwriter who wrote songs that all the guys in the Rat Pack sang. Well, except for Joey, you wouldn't want to hear Joey sing. But Sammy, Frank, and Dean all sang For Once in My Life. And we've got some original Ron Miller songs in there that are just wonderful. So we've got the kind of talent that takes you to Broadway in this show from behind the scenes, and we're gathering it for in front of the scenes.
Someone warm like you would make my dreams come true. La, 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 la.
I remember when you guys started to arrive, the place hasn't been the same since. Parties,
It's the voice of God
nightlife,
portrayed by my
singing,
father,
laughter,
Buddy Hackett. And a lot of people come up and say, "Was that your father or was that you?" And I said, "I didn't know you talked like my father." It was my father. He actually recorded that before he passed away, a year before he passed away, when I'd written. And amazingly, I smile every time I hear his voice at the beginning of the show, being the voice of God and coming from the heavens and kicking us off. Not only was my father, he was my best friend, he was also friends with Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis and Dean Martin and Joey Bishop, who lived up the street. He was Uncle Joey. I mean, these were his cronies, these were his pals. I mean, this isn't me going out and doing research about strangers. This is me doing a show about my friends and my father's friends. So it's a labor of love.
I think Dean Martin is the guy that every guy wanted to be. He had the class, the panache, and Dean was very unique in a way where he was one of the few people in the world that didn't have to say a word, but just could give the audience a look and just put them in the floor laughing. So Dean's a very unique guy.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the world seems to shine like you had too much wine, that's amore. Bells will ring, ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling, you see Isabella. Hearts will play tippy-tippy-tay, tippy-tippy-tay, like a gay talent, lucky fella. When the stars make you drool, just like Basra Bazoo, that's amore. when you dance down the street with the clouds at your feet. You're in love. When you walk in a dream, but you know you're not dreaming, signore. Use me, but you see, Mackinac, Napoli, that's amore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want everybody to sing along right here. Here we go. When I hit your eye like a big pizza pie. That's amore. When you dance down the street with the clouds at your feet, you're in love. Is there more? Them. Why didn't somebody tell me these things? This lady walks into a drugstore and... I don't wanna, he don't wanna, she don't wanna. Do you wanna? You want to know what it say?
Yes.
It say, Chumani tutanka, owarspielo wakache.
The hell does that mean?
Indians take back country one casino at a time.
You know, the entire world loved Dean. And so when I step on the stage, I can feel the warmth from the people already.
Well, Frank Sinatra is the kingpin. He's the person everything revolves around. He is the gentleman that not only in this cast, in this show, but in real life, everybody circled around him to entertain him because he was the father figure and he sort of took care of everybody. Now, David DaCosta, who plays Frank in this show, emanates very strongly Frank's presence and aura and kindness, which, you know, you got a lot of Franks out there and they go for the mean Frank. Well, you know, Frank wasn't mean 24/7. He was actually a kind, lovable, gentle man. And David brings that out. And that's the part of Frank that people love.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come on, fly with me, let's fly away.
To me, Frank Sinatra was the king of cool, the king of swing, and brought a new life to music, a new style to music, a hip style to music. I mean, before Frank, there was guys like Bing Crosby, and who Frank looked up to, you know, very much. And but Frank had a little extra something. He had the it factor, and it's pretty big shoes for me, and you know, to just step into. But I love portraying the late great Frank, and I grew up with Frank Sinatra in my home. I come from a musical family, my dad, my brothers, generations and generations, and Frank Sinatra has always been around.
In other words, I love you. I can only give you love that lasts forever, and my promise to be near each time you call. and the only heart I own is yours and yours alone. That's all, baby, that's all. There are those, I am sure, who have told you that they'd give you this world for a toy. All I have are my arms to enfold you and my love. Time could never destroy. Wait till you're locked in my embrace. Wait till I draw you near. Wait till you see that sunshine place. Ain't nothing like it here. I'd sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near. In spite of the warning voice that comes in the night, it repeats how it screams in my ear. Don't you know, you fool, there's no chance to win. Why not use your mentality? Wake up, step up to reality. And each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop.
Two types of music in this world. It's either good or bad. But Frank Sinatra, it's the good stuff. They don't write music like that anymore. If I could do anything to help keep this music alive, I'm honored.
That's mine, you can't take it. Long as there's love, babe, bet I'm gonna make it. For once in my life, I've got someone. Yes, for once in my life, I found someone. For once in my life, I got someone who needs me.
One of the unique things about Shadows in the Desert is that the producers, Lisa and Sandy Hackett, have taken this genre, for the lack of a better phrase, to another level. And they've expanded it. And they've expanded the consciousness of the central character in this little opera of Frank Sinatra. So what they did is they did a little throwback, and they brought all the Richmond out.
He has an unbelievable voice, and at this point, he's 11 years old when we're doing this interview. Stevie Wonder heard a song he did, invited him to sing with him at the Nokia Center in front of 7,500 people for his Christmas show. He got a standing ovation, and I said, boy, I want to put Oliver on our show. And I wrote a part for him as young Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra is a young boy at 11 years old, and he sings Someone to Watch Over Me, and he knocks him dead. We won't keep Oliver long because he's too talented to stay in this show for long. He's going to have a big, long career. But boy, he's amazing, and it is such a pleasure to be a parental figure in his life.
Will you take me into the city?
Please, Frankie, go help your father.
I want to see that show again.
Of course you do. You haven't seen it enough. Frankie, you've seen that show 100 times.
I know Pop wants me to work on the docks with him, but someday, Ma, I'm going to stand on stage and sing in front of people.
Yeah, you're going to be the best singer on the docks, Francis.
I want to be a singer.
Oh, from your lips to God's ears, baby. You're special. Like a miracle, you came to life. Oh, someone's watching over you, Francis.
There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that she turns out to be someone to watch over me.
Oliver's number opens the second act, and it's an extraordinary journey that Oliver takes the audience on and brings us all the way full circle to adult Frank, who is the megastar that he is. And when Oliver comes out, we've been doing this a while now, and this young man has got extraordinary talent. This young man can sing better than the old farts up on the stage. And I'll tell you, he's going to go places, so it's going to be very nice to see him do that.
The character of Frank's One Love. Well, I met this woman years ago, and I heard her sing, and I went, wow, that's probably the best singer I have ever heard. And it turns out I married her. And when her father passed away, Ron Miller, he left a legacy of songs behind that had never been exploited, is the term they use in the music business. And she found a bunch of his unexploited work and did a show of songs that no one had ever heard. And song after song would just reach into your heart and turn it into goo. And one song that I heard called Wasn't I a Good Time, I said, I got to take this song and put it in the show. And I reflected back on the Frank Sinatra-Ava Gardner relationship, and you put the song in there, and you got a hit moment in the show. You got a game changer. You got just something special.
As you know, throughout the years, I sang a lot of beautiful songs. And I've been with a lot of beautiful women. But I only had one love. Well, I think it's a great narrative for our show. It creates a lot of interest on who Frank's one love actually was. And we know it was Ava.
Frank's one love. I like to think it was Ava. If you want to think about romances, it's Burton and Taylor, it's Cleopatra and Caesar and Mark Antony, and then of course it's Frank and Ava. I prefer to think of it that way, and when she comes out, Lisa Miller, and she does that number, it's captivating. It is just, it's a fine masterpiece that's being sung.
Why it heals then hurts us all. Summer was so easy. Now we have to face the fall. But wasn't I a good time? Baby, wasn't I the best? Wasn't I the party? Though my heart was just the guest. Do you still recall the passion? Even though I'm out of fashion, wasn't I a real good time? You can let your eyes explain. Wasn't I a good time, baby? Didn't I have style? Everything you needed from a woman to a child. I was the complete collection, worn out jeans to sheer perfection. Wasn't I a real good time? I'm gonna miss you. I really miss you.
When it came to Frank singing, it brought a lot of passion. After that relationship, having loved and lived, his music became stronger. Ballads became more touching.
Nothing lasts forever. Life's not always fair, but at least we had some time to laugh, time to share. And now I'll hold
There was before Ava, and then there was after Ava. It was the relationship where the fire never died.
I think the most important thing when you put any kind of creative project together is your team. You need people from all walks of life that bring a lot to the table. And I think we've assembled an astonishing team. My wife is a perfectionist. I like things orderly. My wife is a perfectionist. She's a genius in music. She's a genius in organizational skills. She has incredible, impeccable hearing, musical talent. You add to that longtime friend Billy Carl, who's a director, went to NYU Film School, has directed film, television, written, done plays, worked with a ton of people. And I asked him to come on board on this project and help, and you know, he said yes. And then you add to that someone that we desperately needed, and that was a technical person to take our music and make it sound better. And we brought Mark Mattson. My wife found him, and boy, he and Billy just hit it off. And Mark is a musical genius on par with my wife, and you've got a musical bed for this that is just stunning.
As the producers of Sandy Hackett's Rat Pack show, we wanted to find someone who could help us breathe new life into these classic standards that we all know and love so much. We turned to my longtime friend and collaborator, Chris Harden, who is an absolute genius. He came up with such brilliant arrangements that honor the original composer's beautiful music and yet gave it a very exciting, passionate, and epic sound, unlike any other show. And beyond that, as a performer playing piano and conducting on stage with us, he is absolutely unrivaled. There isn't a better drummer on this planet than Ryan Rose. Ryan is one of the most passionate musicians I have ever met. He has a way of intuitively communicating and connecting with all the wonderful musicians that we work with across the country and the world. His playing is absolutely unsurpassed. In fact, sometimes I find myself watching him from backstage because it's so exciting. He drives the show, and we feel so grateful to have him on our team. I think a big part of the success of the show happens long before we ever even hit the stage. And that starts with our brilliant, genius, award-winning art director, Jeannie Quinn, who I am so blessed to call one of my closest friends. She's so extraordinarily talented that she has a way of communicating our passion through her artwork. She's so dedicated. We've spent so many nights together up until 5 in the morning working on the show, and we have fun doing it. There isn't anybody else I would want to be on this journey with. I couldn't do it without her. We also have the best publicity team in the world, Steve Levesque and Chrissy Setfin from Luck Media. We all work together as a team to create the best experience, and it shows.
Well, Sandy Hackett's Rat Pack show, when you have your son in the show and then you have a daughter and she wants to be in it too, I had to find a role for her. So she goes out and she introduces the show. And at 6 years old, she's about, you know, any proud papa would say, it's the cutest little thing you've ever seen. And she goes out and she introduces herself and introduces the show. She gets their attention immediately. They all go, ah, and we hit the ground running.
My name is Ashley Hackett. Welcome to Sandy Hackett's Rat Pack show. Enjoy.
You know, today we're doing this interview at West Point, New York, where we just finished performance this afternoon at Eisenhower Hall. Dwight David Eisenhower, former President of the United States, general in World War II, helped us win a major war, needless to say. And it is the biggest theater on the East Coast, 5,000 seats. And we had their normal subscription series and, I don't know, a couple thousand cadets. It was an amazing experience to come here in a place rich in tradition that handpicks so carefully what it wants to put on its stage to give to its cadets as an entertainment meal. And we are honored and privileged to be here and to entertain our military and the young men and women that will someday be our generals and perhaps maybe even our president.
I think the reason the Rat Pack endures is because of the relationship, respect, and love that they had for one another. What you see on our stage is real. We love each other and we're passionate about what we do. And I think of all the people that I work with, I'm closest to Mark, who I call my brother.
I've worked with Mark for a while, and he's just one of the nicest, sweetest guys you would ever want to work with, and I feel privileged to do that, as I do everybody in the cast of this incredible show.
Isn't it true you're only saying nice things about Mr. Mattson because he let you drive his convertible?
No habla inglés.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Ooh, luck be a lady tonight.
Luck if you've ever been a lady to begin with. Luck be a lady tonight. A lady never leaves her escort.
It isn't fair, not fair.
And it's not nice.
Not nice.
A lady doesn't wander all over the room and then blow on some other guy's dice. How about we keep this party polite? Never let Joey dance in my sight. Stick with me, baby, I'm the guy that you came in with. Luck be a lady. Luck be a lady. Luck be a lady tonight. Tonight. Roll 11. Moon River, wider than a mile. I'm crossing you in style someday. You dream maker, you heartbreaker. Wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Two drifters off to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We're after the same waiting round the bend. My huckleberry friend, Moon River, and me. Ronnie Shandor, ladies and gentlemen.